Welcome back. I'm your host, Leslie Cottle, and you are listening to This Empowered Life podcast, the podcast made to help you on your spiritual journey to discovering your purpose, your gifts, and to claim your power so you can step into your true self. Today's episode is all about learning how to love unconditionally without manipulation. If you have ever felt like you needed to give something to receive love, keep on listening for why that is absolutely backwards and for 3 tips on how to start practicing unconditional love today. So, unconditional love without manipulation. What does that mean? Throughout my spiritual journey, I have learned literally so much about love. And has been like chapter after chapter and experience after experience of unlearning, of unfolding, of letting go of everything I thought I knew about love. And all of these experiences kind of webbed and bridged me into the same place, which is the journey of learning how to love unconditionally. So many of us have these programs and experiences that have taught us that love is conditional. That it's based upon how good you are, how you act, what you do. But love, real love, it's unconditional. It has no expectations of others. It has no expectations of ourselves. Love is just love, and you are deserving of love, period. A huge code that came through to me this weekend was about manipulation when it comes to love, and how manipulation is this thread through conditional love. A lot of us learned as kids about manipulation, and not because our parents are bad teachers or bad parents. It's because as a kid, you're like, oh, if I do this, I get candy. If I do this, I can watch TV. If I do this, I can get what I want. And so we end up learning that there's this reward system weaved through everything that we do. And then we also start attaching that to love. And it's wrong, right? At the end of the day, you shouldn't have to do something to get something. And you're not loved because you did something. You are loved because you are you, not because you did something to deserve it. And so we have this conditioning really wrapped in our heads that we have to do something to prove that we're lovable or prove that we deserve love. And so unconsciously, and honestly, a lot of times consciously, we are expressing things and doing actions in order to fill a need in exchange for this experience of love. And this is where self-pity comes in, projecting things on other people, and even guilt-tripping people into loving us or into feeling bad for us, because our minds think that there has to be the exchange going on for us to receive love, for ourself to receive love, and for it to even exist. And it's just so wrong. If you have to do something for love to exist, that is conditional love. It's not real love. And unconditional love is love without expectations. It is love without attachment, love without a reason other than it makes someone else happy. And honestly, unconditional love, in my opinion, it's not even about the other person. It's because your heart is so open that love flows so easily and naturally through you that it would actually cause friction to stop it flowing out of you. And it would be easier to just give and just give and just give, because there is so much love. There are infinite amounts of it that it literally never ends. And so it's just so much easier to give love than to hold it off and to block it. And I'm sorry because I'm ranting because I love so much. And it's because for so long I didn't know how to love. Manipulation is a huge thing that stood in the way of me giving love, but more so it was more I couldn't receive the love from other people because I always thought I had to do something to receive it. And so when you're constantly thinking that you need to be doing something to receive love, you have a really hard time receiving love without giving something in return. And so it ends up being this cycle that just goes on and on and on, and you're reinforcing learned conditional love until you learn how to love unconditionally without expectations, with acceptance, with forgiveness, and just because. Now, the place that I think most people can start with unconditional love is outside of them. And especially women, not to stereotype, but so many women are natural nurturers and givers, so they know how to give love naturally. But when it comes to receiving love, if you know manipulation and getting something for giving something, and that's a program of yours, the first step to unlearning that program and reprogramming yourself for unconditional love is to learn how to give yourself unconditional love. And it's a practice, right? Everything in life is a practice. Everything in life can be learned and unlearned. And when manipulation is being used to get love, what you're really saying is that I can't give myself love, so I need to manipulate someone else into giving me something that I need. And this is a terrible, terrible illusion. It's an illusion that someone would be able to give you something like that and that you wouldn't be able to give it to yourself. On a primal level, you need love to survive. But if you're thinking that in order to get love that you have to actually reach outside of yourself to fulfill that need, it's an illusion. It's absolutely not true. You are able to give yourself love. You have so much love inside of you pulsing at every single minute, and it would be impossible to not have the ability to give it to yourself. And if you're thinking like, I don't know if I'm resonating with that message, it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's just that so little of us have had the practice of giving ourselves love, of giving ourselves self-love. And we have this relationship with love about conditional love. And the practice that we've been doing for a long time is about conditional love. And so in order to understand what unconditional love is, you have to practice it. You have to create a relationship with it. And if this is new to you, you are not alone. I probably spent at least 30 years of my life not understanding love and only practicing conditional love. And I promise you, unconditional love is the way to go. It feels so good, like so good. And it's so easy when you get the hang of it, and it's so easy to do. So I want to give you some pointers for an unconditional love practice. There's 3 of them. And the first one is that unconditional love does not mean at all that you have 0 boundaries. You absolutely need to have boundaries with any kind of love that you're giving and everything that you're doing. And especially with unconditional love, boundaries do exist. Boundaries are there to protect you, and you can protect yourself and give unconditional love at the same time. The second is that this is a practice. It's a practice that you're doing with yourself. And so that means loving all of you, all of you, all of the parts. It's all the past versions of you, all the ways that you grew in the past, all the things that you're coming into right now, and all the things that you're shedding. It is loving all of you and understanding that it's an experience to appreciate. And I know it can feel really edgy sometimes to love all of you. And if it feels edgy to love a part of you, that's exactly where the work is. If it feels edgy, that's the practice. Practice with that. Start there. Because there isn't anything that you could do that isn't worthy of forgiveness and acceptance. And those two things will lead you so deep into love. And the third, as I just mentioned, two of them, which is forgiveness and acceptance. But the three ingredients to unconditional love are forgiveness, acceptance, and gratitude. Those three things, forgiveness, acceptance, gratitude, they are the bread and butter of unconditional love. That is what you need. Those are the things to practice when we're practicing unconditional love. We're practicing forgiveness. We're practicing acceptance. We're practicing gratitude, even when it feels edgy. Even when it feels like, oh my gosh, how can I forgive myself? How can I accept myself? How can I have gratitude for this moment? That's the work. So to wrap it up, these three practices are: number one, unconditional love does include boundaries. Number two, unconditional love is a practice and you should practice with yourself often. And number three, the way that we practice unconditional love is through forgiveness, acceptance, and gratitude. So I am sending you so much love, so much light. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for listening today. Tune in Tuesdays for more yummy and soulful episodes. If you love what you're hearing and want to support the podcast, please follow and rate the podcast on Spotify and Apple to help new listeners find us. To find out more about my coaching and healing practice, head over to my website, www.lesliecottle.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.